welcome to the latest edition of Cruising with the Coaches. Here with Julie and Lee, your co-hosts. Julie, how you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Got an update for you. No, not on the
Oh,
loofah.
God.
Not that. No. Wait, I won't do you like that. I won't do you like that. But do you remember? This was months ago when I'd ridden my bike home and almost rode over a couple of rats. Right? Remember that?
Yeah.
So unfortunately, there's been this is so unrelated to the topic today, but I just had to share it with you because I shared the bike ride with you, right?
Okay.
So they changed the bus routes, and the one route that I take that used to go all the way across town is now split into two routes, right? So basically, I pick it up at the halfway point, a couple blocks from my job, no big deal. I'm going home one night, and it's, I don't know, 11:30. Bus driver standing out there. We're 5 minutes away from taking off. And again, it's in a park in green space inside of the city, right? So he's like, he's staring at something. And I'm like, okay, I'm looking around, there's homeless people and people walking around, but he's staring like at this huge tree right in the middle. And I'm like over and I was like, yo, can I get on the bus? He was like, yeah, but hold on. It's like, well, I gotta hold on. He's like, look at this. So I'm looking and I'm like, well, what am I looking at? He was like, just wait a minute. So as my eyes adjusted to the darkness in the park, how do I say the ground was moving?
Okay.
There were so many rats.
Ew.
In the park. So it's this huge tree and it's probably hollowed out or been hollowed out by the rats, right? Living there. They have all these burrows throughout this park. But I swear, so I mean, we're looking, and I was horrified. I'm like, can we leave? Because I feel like
why are we watching this?
I feel like they're gonna come close to the bus. Like it was.
Oh.
Yeah, it was. I was like, ooh, I need to ride my bike because 2 rats is better than like 200. It was just. It was. Yeah. So I will.
Like.
Yes, they were. Yeah. So but because I just have to share those things with you.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you for sharing.
As the viewers and listeners are like, click.
All right, bye.
We're like, rats? No, we're good.
Ew, I can visualize it now. Ew.
It was
just like the moving and just like the ground. Just stop.
Well, the bad part is because it was dark. You actually had and you had to wait until your eyes adjusted, and you're like, "Am I seeing what I think I'm seeing?"
Mm-mm.
And but the bus driver, I'm like, "Bro, can we go?" It was, fun of living in the city. There you go. Did I mention that there's a restaurant called George Brown's right across the street from the park? Did I mention that? There's every which way there's a restaurant, but anyhow.
So I will thank you for the nightmare that I will have later this evening. Thank you. Appreciate that.
I'm here for you. I'm here for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, don't go to sleep.
No, I will not.
It was awful. So it was, you know what? I know how to roll it into today's topic.
Oh,
right? I absolutely do.
I gotta hear. I gotta hear this. Yeah, please do. Yes.
Well, we're gonna talk about the art of detaching, right? So I think what I'm gonna work through is detaching myself from that particular vision that I had at the bus stop.
Okay.
And maybe take another bus route or call a cab. Okay, yeah, no, that didn't work. But but this is what we are talking about today. The art of detaching. And it comes from this codependency in relationships, right? So let's go ahead and jump into the slides here. this was from Psych Central or psychcentral.com. And Sharon Martin is a licensed social worker or counselor, social worker. But detaching is an effective way to cope with a codependent relationship or any toxic or dysfunctional relationship, whether it's an alcoholic parent, an addicted child, or a narcissistic spouse. Detaching is the opposite of enabling because it allows people to experience the consequences of their choices, and it provides you with the needed emotional and physical space that you can care for yourself and feel at peace. So before we go any further, any thoughts on that definition from the doctor there, the counselor?
Um, I would also like to say, like, I think what we also need to like say to that is what you might deem toxic for yourself. It doesn't necessarily have to be actually toxic. So I think sometimes we get hung up on um it actually being toxic, like it having
Sure.
to be substance abuse, it having to be abusive. Like you can have a toxic relationship with someone and it just being the fact that maybe they're just a gossipy person. That's
So
toxic.
it doesn't have to be as extreme as those examples.
Exactly.
Mm,
Exactly.
mm,
So maybe just the fact that it can be a toxic relationship for you, not necessarily it being
yeah.
toxic and what
Like
it actually stands for, kind of a thing.
good call out, because I
Yeah,
can think of, if you're in a work environment, right?
correct.
And now we're not saying the work environment itself is toxic, but
Right.
there can be, like you said, the gossiping or
Mhm.
people who, whether it's intentional or unintentional,
Correct.
just like to share information unnecessarily.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like you're talking, like the work environment. You have that person who isn't a team player, but
Yep.
likes to team up with people to share work. You know what I mean? So it's not a good relationship, but at the same,
Yep.
you know what I mean? You know what? You
Good call.
it's toxic type
Yep.
of a thing.
It's
So
not working for you. Yeah.
yeah,
No, but
yes,
good call where it doesn't have to be like that extreme physical example.
correct, correct.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. Well, we'll jump back into the article here where it talks about codependents, excuse me, often find themselves in dysfunctional relationships where they spend the inordinate amount of time worrying and trying to control or fix other people. Ooh, let's note that. This is done with a loving heart, but it can be all consuming. Problem is, sometimes your loved one doesn't want the help you're offering. They want to do things their own way. This also creates a maddening push and pull effect where no one's happy and you both are trying to control and force. So I got to come back out on camera here because this definitely makes me think of an example from my past, right? Um, we're dealing with my sister a lot. I mean, she had functional depression, right? Let's just be real.
Mhm.
But it got to a point where, especially when she had my niece, when she had a kid, when it was just her, cool. You're an adult. You make your own choices. Doesn't affect anyone else. I get to choose what I'm going to do or not. But once she had a kid, I know, and I remember telling her this. I said, look, you know what? I love you. I'm just going to be here for you. I will help you if and when I can. But my focus is now on making sure your daughter is healthy and grows up and has the support that she needs. You're an adult. She didn't ask to be here. So I remember having that kind of conversation, right? Like,
Mhm.
and again, you can't force someone to get help if they don't want it, you know?
Right. Right.
So I just wanted to share that example. Any examples you want to share before we move on, or anything you want to add to that?
Well, I mean, also not being hung up on the fact that when it is just two adults, not like in your kind of scenario, but when there is two adults, understanding your standards are not always the same standards as the other person. So you can't expect another person to live by what are your quote unquote standards. You know what I mean? So sometimes we overanalyze the situation, and what our expectations are not always quite what the other person's expectations are. So letting that go can be difficult.
Good word, expectations. Well, it's, as we've talked about in so many episodes, right? That's the communication and conversation about it.
Right.
Now, it doesn't mean that expectations change, but they can, right? Maybe if you understand a bit better, maybe they do change, or maybe you realize I have to detach. You know,
right?
Maybe you do realize that.
Right.
All right, back to the article here. Yes, and those of us, we do have a caring nature. Yes, codependents are caring. But because of the caring nature, codependents can become obsessed with other people's problems. They have good intentions and a real desire to help, but the fixation on the problems they can't actually solve, like solving, a parent's alcoholism or an adult child's unemployment, doesn't help anyone. And it actually is a distraction from taking care of yourself and solving your own problems. It also prevents your loved one from taking full responsibility for their life and learning to solve their own problems. 100% agree with that, right? It's very similar to coaching, where if someone is working with you, or you're even a mentor, right? And you are in a conversation, they come to you. If you give them the answers, that onus then becomes on you, right? They don't have, they don't take responsibility. They don't have accountability for their choices. They'll come back and say, well, you told me to do this and it didn't work. Or do you get the credit if it works? You know what I mean?
So, right. I think that's the hardest part, is trying to help someone come to that. Because especially when you're talking to someone who's 20 something, and you've been there several times,
and they know everything,
right? But like you're sitting there, you're with your 50-year-old self saying, God, I've been here 20 times. I know exactly what you should do, but I could tell you exactly what to do, but if I tell you exactly what to do and you don't know how to maneuver yourself, what help am I actually giving you? So
it's almost a disservice, right?
Exactly.
If you don't let them take their lumps and learn it. Right. As a parent, you're not going to completely let them fail, meaning it won't be detrimental, right? But there has to be a pain point for them to actually learn,
Right.
It will, kind of a pain point.
Right.
As a parent, and this is just a side note for anyone who's a parent, make comment on this section if you're a parent, and I'll ask you, but I'll answer it first. As a parent, I'm not going to say, do you get to ask this? I'm just going to say, when is it appropriate that you get to say, I told you so? When is that appropriate? Because I know that my own mother loved telling me that. Like,
oh, really?
Oh, and I told you so. And then, yeah. But I get it, because I like to have that moment too.
See, so I refrain. My thing is, been there, done that. Like, been there, done that. Like,
so you've never said I told you so?
I try not to. I really do. I do. I mean, maybe
that's awesome.
Maybe
yeah.
Maybe 10 years ago. You know what I mean?
Okay.
In a different headspace.
Different context. Yeah.
But not anymore. Yeah, it's more been there, done that. I get it. Like, that sucks.
I guess now I might make sure I say it, knowing that it's really sarcasm and not like, see, I told you you're wrong. No. Like,
yeah.
Like I told you. I actually have a picture. You can get T-shirts made. And it says, you can put your name on it. And the saying is, if you had just listened to blank, then none of this would have happened, right? And I put my name on it and took a screenshot of it. I sent that to people. Like, yeah, if you just listened to Lee in the first place, we wouldn't be in this situation. There you go. Yeah.
Now, I will say I have gotten the I should have listened to you. And then I have gotten the yes. In quiet. I've never done it in there. I'm like,
yes. No, see, I got to challenge you. You got to do it in the moment.
No.
No, yeah, that's just wrong. Yes. Send all your hate mail to her, not me.
I do it quiet. Like, yes.
We got a couple more slides here. So these are like you cannot, as a codependent, you cannot solve other people's problems. So according to codependency expert Melody Beatty, I think is how you say that, detachment is based on the premise that each person is responsible for themselves, that we can't solve problems that aren't ours to solve, and that worrying also does not help. Detaching is a way off of the relationship roller coaster. Detaching allows you to take care of yourself, honor your own feelings and needs, and let go of the guilt, and shame that might result from taking responsibility for other people's bad choices. So, like, I get that definition, but I'll ask you this question too.
Mm-hmm.
I gave that up a long time ago. Feeling responsible for other people's decisions. And I don't even know if I ever felt responsible for other people's decisions.
I would have to challenge you on that.
Okay.
Because what about your daughter? You wouldn't feel responsible for decisions that she made. Like, I can say that now because now my children are all adults. But like, I feel like I've served my sentence. They're all adults now, so now I'm like, yeah, I don't have to feel responsible for them anymore.
You're doing the Tom Cruise sliding through the.
I've done my time, but like up until then, like I always, as a parent, been like feeling like white knuckling it, like responsible for anything impossible that they could have done. So
good call out, and I would say that has begun to evolve because now oh my God, she's about to be 16. Not the point. But it's begun to evolve because she's older, right? So I'll give you that at a younger age, or even that tween stage, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, your next 2 years are going to be your most fun. Yay. Yay for you.
Absolutely. Well, I know who I'm like, you can call so-and-so because she thought she was done, but no. But yeah. I'll give you that. That would be, there would be some part of feeling responsible for that. I'll give you that. I guess, so I'll be more accurate. I would say I've given up a long time ago, and maybe it started with the example about my sister, right?
Okay.
Or any adults.
Okay.
I given that up a long time ago, feeling responsible for other people's decisions. Okay. I think what I've held on to is maybe how my decisions affected them.
Okay.
But not necessarily what they're deciding for themselves, Then that might be a totally different show. but what I'm holding on to, right? But my decisions and how that affects other people. But
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But as you said, you've served your time. But are there any adults that you have ever felt responsible or guilty for with the decisions they made?
I would have to say in the past, probably spousal decisions for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, especially if there was no discussion or what have you, and then a decision was made, and then you're just kind of like, like, ooh, that's kind of not what I would have done, but I'm going to stand by what you've decided. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm sure there were plenty of times where that has happened, and you're just kind of going, okay, like, I'm gonna ride this out with you, but that's not what I would have done, kind of a thing. You know what I mean?
That's not. Yeah, I can see
Yeah.
that. I wish I had said something sooner so we could have gone a different route. Or
Correct. And I'm
wish
sure
I
I've
had
done it
known.
too. And I'm sure I've jumped in there and said, we're doing this, 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 and this. And then it's like, oh yeah, by the way, this is what we're doing, kind of a thing. You know, I think we've all done that. And
That
then
never happens in marriages. Ever. No.
So, I mean, yeah, I can't say that I've not done that. So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
But you've never. But I think you're probably on the same page as me, where at this point you haven't felt guilty about that in some time. You know, dare I go on a limb?
People gonna do what they're gonna do.
I was gonna say, dare I go on a limb and say that we don't really feel guilty about other people and what they do? That's not.
No.
We did a show previously. I forget what the title of it was, but it was about control, the art of letting go, right? And minding or being in the business that's yours, right? Well, I can't be in the business of someone else's decision that affects their life.
Right.
That's not a business I'm in. So, and even as a coach, y'all, nope, I don't do it.
Unless you put me in your will and testament that says otherwise.
Then we ain't doing that. We're not doing that.
I don't have to.
Nope. Man, so why don't we take a break here, and when we come back, we'll talk about different examples and what detachment actually looks like. All right, y'all. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break. Hey, folks, welcome back from the break. This is the latest episode of Cruising with the Coaches, Conversation with Julie and Lee. Before the break, we were talking about codependency and detachment and kind of defined what detachment is. We gave you some examples. Now we're going to dig into actually what the article says about detachment and some examples there. So, what is detaching? From the group, the nonprofit group Al-Anon, the 12-step group that helps people who are affected by someone else's alcoholism, they describe detachment with this acronym: don't even think about changing him or her. So detaching means you stop trying to force the outcome that you want. One way to detach is you detach with love. Using the term detach with love to remind, or we use that to remind us that detaching is a loving action. Detaching doesn't mean pushing people away or not caring about them. It isn't angry. It's not withholding love. It's letting go of controlling and worrying and putting responsibility back on that individual. Detaching also is not cutting ties or ending a relationship, although that might be necessary at times. Detaching helps you stay in a relationship and not lose your sense of self. Detaching is similar to setting boundaries. Detaching puts a healthy emotional or physical space between you and your loved one in order to give both of you the freedom to make your own choices and have your own feelings. So as we come back out on camera here, is that do you feel that that's fairly accurate about detaching with love?
I mean, I think so. I think the only piece to that where I would have concern with the detaching is the acknowledgement of the detachment. So if you're detaching with love,
Mhm.
um, acknowledging the detachment. So if you just go into a quiet space and you're not acknowledging
That you're stepping
why,
back.
right, but you're stepping back,
Mhm.
who are you protecting? Do you see what I'm
Mm.
saying? So if you're protecting yourself based on a clear and present issue that
Mm.
there is no need for explanation,
Mhm.
that is one thing. But if there is an issue that is one-sided, meaning you are going through something, you are feeling something, and you need to work through it, but yet you are not explaining that to the other party, well, that's not really a healthy detachment because you're not offering the opportunity for that person to, one, how in the hell are they supposed to work on it when they don't know what the hell is happening?
Uh, no, I think the article touches on this, but you're right.
Do
No
you
one's
see
a
what I'm
mind.
saying?
No one's a mind reader.
Yeah.
So you you cannot. Yes, acknowledging that. Hey, I can't solve this for you.
Right.
I'm here to help, but I got to take a step back because I'm. I mean, not necessarily the right words, but I'm getting too wrapped up in this for you, and
Hmm.
I'm losing other things that I'm doing. So
Correct. Correct.
yes, acknowledging that you're actually detaching. That
Correct.
I also think in good call out with that because I think that's what people may do. They
Hmm.
think that, well, I'm detaching with love because I still love you and I'm still here for you, still, trying to help you, but you haven't said anything. you
Right.
just you just kind of disappear,
Right.
and that can be misinterpreted. That can be misinterpreted so many ways.
Right.
And you're not trying to ghost somebody unless
Right.
that is necessary, right?
Right.
If it's necessary, then you do it. But
Right.
I think, yeah, acknowledging the detachment for
Yes.
sure, for
Yes.
sure.
Because I mean, I know I myself tend, like, it's just my personality. Like,
Mhm.
I can detach, but I'll detach for self-love. You know what I mean? Meaning
Which is important though. That's
yeah, like I don't have the capacity for this, this, and this. I can only do this right now.
yep,
Whether
yep.
that means I can only do me right now. Like I cannot do this and that and that. I can only do me. And this is, I'm sorry, it's not about you. I
Well,
can't.
and
Like,
that's the thing. Like you said, no explanation.
mhm,
There's no like. That's a perfect example. I
right.
only have the capacity, right?
Hmm.
Not only is it communicating well, but it's being real about what
Right.
you can do, right?
Right. Right.
That's all you can do, really, is
Right.
is is kind of acknowledge what you have capacity for.
Right. Right.
For sure. That is with love. These are examples of what detaching looks like in an emotional or psychological way. And you just talked about it, right?
Mhm.
Focusing on what you can control. So you have to differentiate between what's in your control and what isn't. You have to respond instead of reacting. So you want to take the time to figure out what you want to say. I would also say how you want to say it, so that when you're calm or calmer, rather than being quick to react or judge in the moment. Um, you also want to respond in a new way. So, for example, if you're taking it personal or you're yelling, and that other person thinks it's rude, don't make a joke of it, right? That changes the whole interaction. um Find a more constructive way. That's what I think the responding in a new way is, and allow people to make their own decisions, right? A few other examples of the psychological or emotional detachment. This is key. Do not give advice or tell people what they should do. Also, you do not want to obsess over other people's problems, and setting the emotional boundaries by letting others know how to treat you. So you were nailing it when you were giving that example. And we've talked about it so many times, right? The boundaries. It's I have another kind of example where um, this was kind of, I think, detaching from my dad a little bit. This
Mhm.
was years ago. He was his I think his love language was buying things, right? Like
Okay.
providing things. And so whether he could or couldn't, he always tried to.
Okay.
And so it was about, him wanting to buy me a computer or buy this and buy that. And I'm kind of personal about my own tech anyway. I'm going to research it. I know exactly what I want. I know what I'm going to get. And so, I set the boundary. I was like, no, I don't want you to get that. And he was kind of like stuck, not knowing what to do.
Okay.
And I didn't explain it. I was like, nope, I do not want you to buy me a computer. Please don't. Don't do
Okay.
that. So that was like setting that boundary of, this is how, I don't know how you're going to treat me, right? And not realizing his love language at that point either. Like, I didn't know that. I
Mhm.
just knew that if I let you do this, I'm not going to like it, but I'm going to have to act like I like it because you bought it. And
Right.
I don't want to fake that.
Right. I mean,
So,
and for what? To have the computer and not use it and have money
right.
spent and yeah.
For it to be a doorstop, like, I
Right.
mean, paperweight.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that was a setting a boundary for detachment of being an adult for myself. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I have like one of my best girlfriends, like when we go together to have dinner or have drinks or whatever,
Mhm.
and if she's whether it's her going through something or me going through something, like that we'll let's say we've talked about it the whole week, like,
Sure,
"Oh,
sure.
like, rah, 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 and this is rah, rah, rah," whatever,
You
and then
you get it all out. Yeah.
and then we'll start the first 5 minutes like, okay, we're gonna talk about blah 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 for the first 5 minutes, and then we ain't gonna talk about it no more. And like, okay, cool, and then we just da 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 blah, 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 and like, okay, we're done with that, and then we really won't talk about it anymore, and
Yeah.
it's just like because you don't want it to be like you just keep talking about it and talking about it and talking about it to the point where
Mhm.
you see each other again and you're still talking about
And
it
it's
and
the
you're kind
same
of going,
thing.
oh my God, are we still talking about this?
And what's
So
even worse is that the more you focus on it, the more it will continue to be happening. And then
exactly.
you keep talking about it, you keep focusing on it, it keeps happening, and you're like, what are we doing? Yeah,
Right,
yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah.
But it's those people that that you can talk to like
Mhm.
that you like, those are the people you keep in your life, because you're like, we can talk like
Absolutely.
this. And I'm like, boom, that's done. It's over with. We ain't talking about that no more. It's
It,
over. We're good.
and that's the cool part, right? Like, you guys set the boundary of, we are going to let it go after this, right?
Hmm. Yep.
And that person is not bringing it back up the next time. Again.
Exactly.
No, that's cool. That's healthy boundaries, people. Healthy boundaries. Oh, you know what? I missed a side about more emotional or psychological detaching. But this is what we just talked about, right? Giving expectations a reality check. So if you have unrealistic expectations, that can cause frustration and resentment. But lastly, you also want to do something for yourself. So notice what you need and how you feel, and then you try to give that to yourself. That way you can detach emotionally or psychologically. But these are there's one more. Sorry about that. And this was what I was talking about before, when the art of letting go, right? It's basically stay in your lane. This says stay on your side of the street, but it's a reminder to deal with your own problems and not interfere with other people's choices, right? I'll just come out real quick here. It really is just being in your own business, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the best policy. You cannot solve other people's problems, and you can't solve other people's problems while you ignore your own, because that never is a good look. That's never a good look. Somebody's gonna be like, "Oh, you can fix mine, but you still doing the same thing." So that's don't want to do that. No. But the examples of physical detachment are being able to take space from an unproductive argument. You can choose not to visit. The example here is an alcoholic parent or a dysfunctional family member. This tip was really good, I think. If it's like a family function, you can arrive late and leave early. If you know it's a potentially dangerous situation, you can leave. And so detaching is a way out of the chaos. It's a way out of the worry and getting away from the emotional pain that you're experiencing. Detaching isn't something that you must do all or nothing. So, say they advise to start where you are, practice and learn. And in time, you'll see that detaching is not just possible, but it's also freeing. So, the physical aspects of detaching, the arriving late and leaving early, I think is a good thing when people don't want to be at a family function, right? Or if they get to a family function and they know it's going to be, they're getting picked at from every angle of family, right?
Okay.
I can imagine. Now, I've never felt this myself, but I've heard of it, especially from women who are not married. And if you're over the age of 35 and you're not married, no kids, right? I've heard it.
I was like, yeah.
So you arrive early or arrive late, and oh well, you didn't bring anybody. Oh well, who are you dating? And it starts on and on. So you get your plate and you leave. You know what I mean? That's not a bad, or you just don't go. Yeah.
No one dares ask me. I don't know what it is about me, but no one dare asks me.
Well, we can take a guess. No. I know what it is. What they're doing, they're off to the side. They're taking they're taking bets. Who's gonna go ask first? That's what they're doing. So they got a pool going on. There's a whole bunch of money, and it's gonna be a big payoff.
Someone just arrives. That's what they're waiting. They're waiting for someone just to arrive. They're like, "Whoa,
they're all gonna be like, that's not who we thought it was.
Who's this person?" Oh my goodness, so funny.
Oh man. Well, any last thoughts on detachment that you want to share before we wrap up today's episode?
I mean, I think the greatest part of detachment is when you've mastered it, you'll know, because you'll lose that adrenaline rush. So when you are no longer triggered, you'll know that you've detached. from whatever the situation is or the person. So that is, I think, for me, I figured out like that was how I knew I had mastered detachment.
Yeah. In a constructive way.
In a constructive way, yeah. Because once you've removed the emotional piece of it, which is basically that adrenaline rush when you're not triggered, when you're not like, it's like, you know, something happens and you're just like like how do I respond to this? Like what, like, oh my God, you know, like when something happens, you're just kind of going, huh. You just keep on moving, you know, you're just like,
okay, and you take your next bite or whatever they're like
right, you're just kind of going,
okay.
That was interesting.
Hope you fix that.
Yeah,
exactly. Hope that works out for you. Yeah.
Oh, well, that was interesting. Okay. Well, you just keep it moving, you know? So I think that's a good way to know that you've mastered it.
Good call. I think being able to detach in the positive way, like I really liked what you said earlier, acknowledging it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Acknowledging you're going to do it, but then follow through and actually do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't try to detach and then still try to fix something.
Right.
That's
Don't
too
pretend.
much of a
Don't pretend.
too much of a mixed signal, right? Too much of a mixed signal. And then they're like, well, I thought you were going to help me. Yeah,
Right.
but you're doing it wrong. No, that's not detachment.
That's not it at all.
that's fixing it for them, and you can't do that.
Wait for them to turn around. I just sitting there like,
no, I'm not talking about myself. No, I'm not. I'm not doing that. Well, you guys, we've appreciated y'all being here on this episode with us. Hopefully, you've learned about what codependency is and actually how to detach in a healthy way. For more episodes, check us out right there on Spotify. Look at the Live All Good podcast. Look for Cruising with the Coaches. You can also find us YouTube. Subscribe, like. I'm not doing the whole subscribe and like. Not doing that. Yeah, not doing that. But you can also find us. We got a Facebook page, Cruising with the Coaches on Facebook. Check us out there. So until next time, Lee and Julie signing out.